All right, good morning, everyone, or good afternoon, wherever you are. Thank you all so much for joining us. Left Bank Books is excited to present another virtual celebrity story time. Today, we welcome author and illustrator Beth Bacon as a new to St. Louis author. Beth will read aloud and talk about how she made her new picture book, the book no one wanted to read. Left Bank Books is St. Louis's oldest independent bookstore. We would like to thank all of our supporters, the supporters of Beth Bacon, and everyone for their outpouring of love for our bookstore, you. Left Bank Books offers curbside pickup and delivery to anywhere in the country, anywhere in the world. We are very happy to be able to bring our event series virtual. We believe that events are a way to expand your mind and bring in new thoughts to make the world a better place. We hope that you enjoy this event, and we hope that you support Left Bank Books by purchasing a signed copy for you or for all of your friends at left-bank.com. Purchasing a signed copy of the book from Left Bank Books allows us to keep our bookstore and staff operating, and it allows us to keep this event series going. See, right there, a signature. You can also come into our store now and find this incredible book on our shelves now. So you can order online, you can order over the phone, you can come in, whatever you want to do. But we thank you so much for your support. I am Shane Mullen. I'm the events coordinator for Left Bank Books. I help produce our hundreds of author events each year with a fantastic team here in St. Louis. We will be taking questions from you, the audience, at the end of the event. So you can type your questions as a comment at any point in time throughout the event, and we will get to those. And be sure to follow Left Bank Books on Facebook and YouTube to be notified about all of our fantastic virtual events. Our June is packed with fantastic events for readers of all ages. And now about today's book, No One Wants to Read. The book No One Wants to Read is a highly visual, full-color chapter book that uses humor, interactivity, and meta-storytelling to help even the most reluctant reader breeze through reading time, feel successful at reading, and even laugh. You'll read a book without really reading. A lonely book makes a deal with its reader. You keep turning my pages and I'll make it fun. If you think reading is boring, then you can pretend to read this book. All you have to do is sit here and turn the pages. Everyone will think you're reading. Are you ready? Let's get started. The ability to read by third grade is critical to a child's success in school and beyond, but learning to read can be frustrating. The book No One Wants to Read by Beth Bacon validates the experience of reluctant readers and rewards them with laughter. And about our fantastic author, Beth Bacon. Beth writes funny books for intermediate reluctant readers. She earned an MFA in writing for children from Vermont College of Fine Arts. She also has a degree in communications from NYU and a degree in literature from Harvard. She previously worked with Apple on communications and marketing, as well as in elementary school education. And she now lives in St. Louis. We are very happy to have her. And if you all watching would help me in warmly welcoming Beth Bacon for Left Bank Books. Hello, Beth. Can you hear everyone?
Hi, everybody. That was a great intro. Thank you so much. It's awesome to be here on Facebook Live and in St. Louis, my new adopted hometown. So you ready for a story, everybody?
Yeah, let's do it.
Okay. I want to say three things before we start. One is this book is interactive. And so there's parts of it where we're like literally going to shake the book and turn it upside down and stuff. But we decided to make it easy for you to see it, and we have it on screen. So you're going to have to use your imagination and imagine that you are holding the book and you're shaking it and turning it upside down. So that's one thing. The second thing is when we made this into an on-screen book, there's a spine down the middle. And so in some of the pictures, there's like a white line down the middle. That, like, here's a copy of the actual book. This thing is the spine of a book. And so you're going to see the spine on screen in some of these shots. So I just want to let you know, it doesn't really have a white line down the middle of some of the pictures in the actual book. And the third thing is, what I'm reading is sort of snippets of the book, because it takes a really long time to read. Look how thick this book is. It's like over 100 pages. So I sort of edit it out, and we get the beginning and we get the end and we get some stuff in the middle, but not the actual whole story. So if it seems a little choppy, that's why. Okay, those are my 3 warnings before we start. Are you guys ready?
I'm ready.
Okay, and Shane is going to turn the pages as I read, so hopefully we'll be in sync. All right, the book No One Wants to Read by me, Beth Bacon. Oh, so here's the little guy. The book itself is the narrator of this book. So, hi, book. How about that? You picked me up. Woohoo! Someone actually wants to read me. I've been waiting for ages for someone like you to choose me. Are you ready to get started? Let's go. Wait, what? Why are you looking at me like that? I've seen that look before. You're not one of those kids who thinks books are boring, are you? Oh, I get it. You only picked me up because you had to. You'd rather be somewhere else, anywhere else, everywhere else. If you think reading is boring, try sitting around all day facing the wall, cover closed, doing a whole lot of nothing. Hey, I might have an idea that helps us both. What if you sit here and turn my pages and we just goof off? Everyone will think you're reading, and I get a little time off the shelf. I won't tell anyone if you won't. Are you in? Let's shake on it. Wait, I don't have hands. Well, just shake me anyway. This is where you're supposed to pretend to shake the book. Shake, 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 shake. Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. Now, let's get this party started. How about a staring contest? Blink, 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 go. You blinked, I win. I don't have eyelids. Speaking of eyelids, can you wink? Close one eye. Now try the next. Why is one side harder than the other? Careful. Don't close both at the same time. Someone might think you're not reading. Some kids can roll their tongue like a taco. Can you? What about wiggling your ears? No? Then try wiggling your nose instead. Are you guys at home wiggling your nose? Now wiggle your butt, but not too much. People will definitely think you're not reading. Now try wiggling your ears, nose, and butt all together. Now wink and make a tongue taco. Uh-oh, is someone looking? Quick, turn the page. Hey, I have a joke. Want to hear it? What's the tallest building in the world? The library, because it has so many stories. Not funny? Geez, tough crowd. Here's another. Did you hear about the anti-gravity book? It's impossible to put down. That one's my favorite. Do you think it's about me? Maybe it is because you haven't put me down. Thanks, friend. I can call you friend now, right? Friends help each other out, and that's what we're doing. It sure feels good to have a friend. Do you like puzzlers? I do. Here's one. Try to get the red glass off the tray. Stumped? Flip me upside down. So here's where you have to imagine, if you flip the book upside down, it looks like that red glass is actually not on the tray anymore. Like this. Flip me again. Whee! And again. And again. And whoa, I think I'm gonna puke. Puke. Just give me a minute till everything stops spinning. Which blue line is longer? Tricked you. They're the same. What about those two black dots? Which one is bigger? Yep. Same. What if I told you these lines are the same length too? You got me. Sometimes I stretch the truth. Speaking of stretching, my spine could use a little stretch. That's where the kid is supposed to stretch the spine. Now that was relaxing. I yawn. You're not yawning too, are you? Wow, it looks like I'm coming to an end. I had a blast. Anytime you want to hang out, I'll be right where you left me. You look kind of bummed out. Not that kind of bum. Sheesh. Don't worry about me. I'll feel good going back on the shelf, knowing I have a pal. If you don't want to stop, you can always go back to page 1. Okay, see ya. High five. Oh, I forgot again. I don't have hands. So just smack me here. That's where the kid's supposed to hit the book. Ouch. Just kidding. Didn't hurt. The end. That's the back of the book, what you're seeing. So thanks, Shane, for flipping through the book for me as I read it. I hope you guys had a little fun and didn't read anything as you were going through the pages. You just played jokes or listened to jokes and played games and stuff. And there's other things in this story that I didn't include, like there's actually a maze and word search and lots of other games. So if you want to know what the other puzzles and jokes and games are in this, you can get the actual book.
Signed at Left Bank Books. Yeah. So now's the time that people can ask questions from the audience. So if you are watching, which I know you are, because I can see, well, I can't see you. Don't worry. You're just, yeah. I know you're there, though. So if you have questions for Beth, you can type them up in the comments, and we will get to those, and we can have a good time now, because we read a book. We finished a book already today.
We read a whole book. Yeah, actually, a couple of my young 7-year-old friends here who read this book, they both said to their parents after they read it how many pages they read. Even though in this book it doesn't actually have page numbers, both of the boys literally counted all the pages and was like, yes, I read a book that was 128 pages. So it's a very satisfying book for those who have to read a certain number of pages because someone tells them to read a certain number of pages. So
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let's start with a question from Karen, and then I have things that I am super curious about as well. But Karen is asking, Beth, how did you get the idea for this book?
So I got the idea for this book when my kids were in elementary school. I actually worked there in the library at the school as a media specialist. And my job was to check out the books. And at that school, they had a requirement that every student had to check out one book every week. And there were always certain kids that would go straight to the section of the library that had the game and puzzle books. Because it was a book. It didn't have a lot of reading in it, but they could do mazes or maybe read jokes that were really short or do puzzles or optical illusions. And I always thought about those kids. You know, they were technically obeying the rule. They were checking out a book every week, even though it was kind of like a book they didn't really have to read. So I got to thinking, I wonder if I can make a game and puzzle book that also has a plot, that also has a character who has a character arc that changes over time. Maybe that character is a little bit flawed, like he was stretching the truth a little bit. And in a couple of other parts of the book, he kind of isn't really the best friend at first, but then becomes a good friend. So I wanted to put those like traditional narrative things that a story has and a game and puzzle book, because usually game and puzzle books don't have plots. And I was like, can I do that? Would it be possible? And yes, I think it is possible. So thanks, Karen, for that question.
My mom also worked in my elementary school library when I was growing up. And
awesome.
That helped my kind of foster my love of reading, because like she would find books that like she just knew were really special and that I would love. So yeah.
Yeah, it was fun working there because I did get to know the kids and what they liked. And so like there was this one girl who always read Geronimo Stilton books. And I was like, okay, if you like that, maybe you'll like this. And it was really fun to sort of match the kids up with their books.
That's what I love most about working at a bookstore, is being able to be like, oh, you loved that book? I did too. Now you should read this book. Jennifer, after the reading, said, so fun. I'll have to buy this book for Ella. And I agree. Like, I told my neighbor about this book, who she has a grandson who will just absolutely love this book. So I hope that everyone
thanks,
else,
Jennifer and Ella. Hi.
I hope that everyone reads this book. That kind of like, I mean, it's a lot of fun for people who like reading and people who maybe don't like reading so much. So
yeah, that's the thing. You know, my boys did not like reading, and I was a reader when I was a kid, and so I loved to read. And when they didn't like reading, I was really kind of surprised, because I just thought that naturally everybody would like to do that. But there's so many things that kids can do now, you know, electronic games or just go outside and play or whatever, that, you know, are also fun. So, and also reading is really hard to learn in the beginning. And they really taught me to understand that experience. And if you understand that your kids might not like to read right now, that doesn't mean they're not going to like to read forever. And so my choice was to really acknowledge and honor their difficulty that they were going through when they were learning to read. And that's how I came up with this whole line of books, really, is the perspective of, yeah, I know reading is kind of hard. And so how can we make it fun for you while you're going through that hard period? Because surely you will pass through it and then move on. And actually, my kids are now grown up, and they're both writers in their own way and readers. One is a computer code writer, and the other one is actually in Hollywood writing screenplays. So there you go. You know, just because they were resisting reading when they were 7, 8, 9 years old does not mean they're going to resist it their whole lives. And I just took a hands-off approach and acknowledged it And eventually when they were sort of ready, they came around. So that's the advice I like to give and try to exemplify that in my writing.
Yeah. And I like to also encourage like trying out different things. Like, so if you don't like reading fiction, find a subject in nonfiction that really excites you and see like, will that make you like reading? Will that kind of pique your curiosity? Or maybe it's just not. Like maybe games and puzzle books are the thing for you. Like,
Right.
because that's a
Yeah.
way of thinking and a way of like doing things critically.
And you're actually reading when you're doing a puzzle, or reading jokes, even though it's a very short sentence. It's reading. So, do what you love and do more of what you love. And the more you do it, the more practice you'll have at it. And that's a great thing. There's so many different books, I think there are more books out there than there are movies or video games or whatever. So you'll be able to find that one type of book that you really love. Like one of my sons loved realistic fiction that was funny, and the other one really loved fantasy. Those are two totally different kinds of books, and they finally found them, and that's what got them started. So keep on looking.
What type of books do you like to read?
Oh, I love to read like emotional stories, like the classic literature of the 19th century, like Jane Eyre and, The Mill on the Floss by George Eliot, like really long, very dramatic, classic literature. That's where I escape to. But of course, now I read a lot of kids' books of all kinds. I read all kinds of kids' books. But I actually kind of like the emotional kids' books the best, too. The ones that are like, a personal philosophical story, sort of like Because of Winn-Dixie.
Yeah. Ooh, I love that book.
Yeah. Another book I really loved when I was a kid was called Tuck Everlasting. It was very deep for 10-year-olds. So that's the kind of stuff I like.
I'm always surprised, like, I mean, I guess I probably shouldn't be at this point, but when I read like books middle grade or whatever whatever you want to call it, books for middle schoolers, or like that kind of age range, I always cry. Like, I love reading those books because they just like either have so much happiness in them or like have this like moment of sadness that you don't expect. And I just, yeah, I cry when I read them.
I know. I actually really love kids literature because it's so efficient. Like you really can get to that emotion really fast. And you're reading it, you're like, how am I so invested in this story? How do I care so much? I've only been reading 75 pages and I care so much about these kids. And that's great. I think kids literature is the best literature out there. I also think picture books are displaying the work from the country's best artists these days. The art in picture books is so beautiful. So I think they're worthy of grown-ups spending a little time flipping through.
Mm-hmm. And they're great lessons to learn still, like even as adults in picture books. Like it's a nice reminder. And sometimes like, because I've been reading some nonfiction picture books and really learning about a lot of subjects very quickly and in a much more imaginative and beautiful way than going to like Wikipedia or something. Like, well, I could learn about something that way, or I could go find this kid's book and look at all these beautiful pictures and learn about this incredible, fantastic person.
Yeah, and I know that picture book, nonfiction books, there's a really, really high standard for making sure it's accurate. So if you are reading a picture book about a person in history, or maybe one about an animal or something like that, you can really trust that the information in there has been vetted and researched and it's true versus Wikipedia, which might not be. So, yeah.
So what advice do you have for someone who is looking at this book, reading this book and saying, I'm inspired. I want to write my own book. Like, do you have advice for those, like, kids, even maybe adults?
I always will say, go for it. Go for it. Whatever you're inspired to do, go for it. Don't let anyone say you can't do it, you shouldn't do it. Don't let anyone who puts you down or makes fun of you or says, oh, that book isn't good. Keep going. Do it. Yes. Thumbs up from me.
Yep.
If you want to write, write. If you want to draw. I mean, think about, like, you know, there's lots of books that you know, you might think, oh, that illustration is really sketchy. Like, it's not even in proportion. You try your illustrations and maybe they'll be awesome too. Or maybe they're not in proportion, but they're your spirit. They're your self communicating. And same thing with writing, you know, just keep doing it. Don't let anyone discourage you. And if they do, you can think of me and say, I am encouraging you. You go for it.
Every book has a reader. And even if you think that that reader might only be you, you're probably, like, chances are there's someone else out there that is looking for that exact story. And someone needs to write it. So if that someone is you, then do it.
Yeah, and don't beat yourself up over not having it not be perfect, because not all books are perfect. So, and that's good. Everybody, no one's perfect, and no books are perfect. So just keep going. Read a lot, write a lot is my advice.
Mm-hmm. So you have you have one more book coming out still this year, and it is the companion to another book. Do you want to talk about those?
Sure. I last year, at the very beginning of COVID, I found out about a contest of a children's book for about COVID to help start conversations with kids about COVID. And so I was like, oh, this is something I can do to help. At the time, my husband was working at a food bank, and I saw him going every day helping during the beginning of COVID when things were really, really difficult. And I was like, I'm a writer and I can help by writing this story about COVID. And I did, and it won the contest. It was called COVID-19 Helpers. I don't know if I have a copy of it. Maybe I do. Oh yeah, here it is. This is what it looks like, COVID-19 Helpers. And then this summer, the sequel, which is about vaccines, is coming out. It's called COVID Vaccines. Same illustrator, which super cute illustrations. Carrie Lee is her name. And so, yeah, that's coming out sometime this summer. It's supposed to come out like in August, but they're trying to maybe have it come out sooner because it helps kids understand that, you know, it really matters. There are some people that can't get vaccines because of the way their body works, if they're in chemotherapy or they have some kind of immune issue. And so those who are healthy enough to get vaccines, the more people that do, then we'll reach herd immunity. And then all around the globe, the COVID crisis will be reduced. And so it really does help reduce the risk for those who could get really sick with COVID. And those who are healthy, what they can do to help get the world back, you know, so that everything is fully open and we can get together and gather. You know, even though it might be scary to get a shot, you're helping your friends who might not be able to. Anyways, that was like I guess that's not a summary of the book because it's a story. It's not like, go do this, you know, it's a story about a kid getting a vaccine. But I guess what I was saying is, I don't know, this book will help parents and kids talk about vaccines.
Yeah.
So, I wish I could show it to you, but it's not available yet.
Well, maybe we'll just do another Storytime event to show the world that book too.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Shane. That would be nice.
When did you know that you wanted to be a writer?
You know, I think that I wanted to be a writer like when I was in elementary school and I was reading a lot. I read a lot and I really wanted to be a writer, but I didn't actually start writing seriously until I was a grown-up and my kids were in elementary school. And that's because I kind of felt like I need to live life and I need to experience it before I am ready to write. But I was always a writer in my career. I used to write advertisements. Like it said in my intro, I used to do writing for Apple. And that was really fun for Apple Computer. So I wrote posters, or back in the day when the software came in a box, I would write the stuff on the box. I would write the papers that went inside the box. So I was always a writer, but really creative writing didn't happen until later, when I sort of felt I was, I don't know, experienced enough to start writing creatively. And you're still always experiencing stuff and always learning. I'm always learning more. So, yeah, good question.
Since you have a book that is, or a series of books that are very fun and very funny and very kind of silly, I think is maybe. But then you have another series of books that is more serious and kind of more geared towards education, and like, so it has like a serious tone to the series. Which do you think is easier to write, and which do you appreciate more when it's done?
Oh, that's a really interesting question. So I think, first of all, everybody has a lot of different sides to them. So there's a funny side to me and then a serious side to me. And so I think that the different books just reflect different sides of the same person. Also, I have to say, in my household, I am the one who is not funny. My kids and husband are so funny. I'm like the one who, like, my jokes always fall flat and they don't, but I'm lucky that way. I have a humorous household. I actually think that these books, I have a whole bunch more in the series that have not yet gone out into the world. Once I got into the voice and the spirit of, like, the book itself being the narrator, it actually wasn't hard for me to write more. Like, because there are certain things that all of these books share. The narrator is the book. They're interactive. They're sort of graphical like just the way that there's words on one page and then a picture on the other, and it's like super flat. That's a kind of like a script. And once I got into that, it was actually not that hard to sort of continue on. And also to give yourself permission to be super silly and funny. And, like, that's actually makes it easier, I think, than to be sort of serious and, make sure that the facts are straight and educational. I think that's harder.
So let's do an easier question.
Okay.
There are so many colors in this book, and it's so bright and vivid. I'm wondering if your favorite color is represented on one of these pages.
I love the blue in this book.
I do too.
That aqua blue, this blue, that's my favorite. It's I'm not sure if it's showing up too well here. It's kind of like the blue behind me and the blue in the chair and the blue on my shirt. I like blue. But, like, I think the red and the yellow are kind of bright and vibrant. Yeah, if you actually notice, there's really only a couple of colors in this book. There's black and white and yellow and blue and red. And that's it. That's it.
Yeah.
Very small color palette.
It's so pretty, though. Like, this yellow is very, very close to my favorite color. So I think that's why I'm so drawn to it, why it's so attractive, because it's just, like, it's vibrant. It's so pretty.
Yeah, and I have to thank HarperCollins for putting together such a beautiful, beautiful book. It's just, heavy and solid, and the pages are thick, and, it's just really, they did such an awesome job building the book, producing it. So thanks, guys.
All right. Well, anything else you want to talk about before we go? I know that we still have time for questions. So if you have questions that you are just really super curious to ask, really, like, kind of about almost anything. Maybe not everything, but almost everything. Just type it up in the questions and we can answer a question or two still. But Beth,
yeah, the only thing I would say is like it's getting to be time for summer reading. So I have lots of really great memories of summer reading. I always joined my library's summer reading program, and everywhere you can find one at your local library, or even maybe some bookstores do it, and some of them actually give you a prize at the end if you read a certain number of books. So I would say go find a summer reading program and jump in.
Yeah. All right, I'm going to share the link again for how people can get a signed copy of your book. It is actually signed by you. You actually came to the store and actually signed copies, which is fantastic.
I did.
And people can get them by giving us a call. They can order online, or they can come in and find the book on our shelves now. Today is technically the pub day.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Today is the launch date. So this is it. This is the first day the books are available. So woohoo!
I forgot to wish you a happy book birthday.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Yeah.
Well, it has been an absolute pleasure. I hope that you are exploring St. Louis and finding new fun things about the city that are just absolutely amazing.
It's a great city. The parks are unbelievable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, and the parks, the architecture, the museums, the zoo, so many awesome things here. Yeah. And I'm a huge baseball fan. So I am now, unfortunately, I'm bad luck. That's why the Cardinals are not doing well. It's my fault. I'm really sorry. I grew up in Boston in the 70s when the Red Sox were bad. Then I moved to San Diego and the Padres were bad. And then I moved to Seattle and the Mariners were bad. And now I'm here. So, oh well.
I don't think it's your fault.
Maybe they'll get better. They're just not good this year. But they're one of the best teams in baseball.
Yeah, they're a lot of fun to watch.
Yeah. And the fans are great here too.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. All right. Well, I hope the audience watching has a fantastic rest of your day. Come see us at Left Bank Books. Order books online. Remember, people in your friends and family that might really like this book. I told my neighbor about it, and she was like, "This is perfect." And my nephews are going to be so excited when I surprise them with a picture or with a copy of this book, unless they're watching right now. And then they won't be surprised because I just told it on the air. But Beth, you are an absolute delight. And I hope that we get to do this again, maybe another virtual event for your next book. And then hopefully some like in-person events where people can actually come and like have like fun times in the store and like an actual like story time. So.
Well, thanks, Shane, for inviting me. It's been really fun. And yes, thanks for celebrating my book birthday with me, everybody.
All right. Well, have a great rest of your day, and we will see you soon.